Hi, I want to talk about the new Pope. I've been thinking about this since they announced who he is and where he's from, and there's a lot of significance around it. And it aligns with a lot of the other things that I've been saying about this is the rise of the divine feminine, that we're on the precipice of the reign of the divine feminine, and that the reign of the divine feminine is a whole new era. So the era that we're in right now is going to end at the end of this year. I've talked about that. I mentioned it. Aegon and my other guides have told us in live channelings as well. So there's a lot of significance about a pope being elected yesterday. So the conclave culminated in the election of Robert Prevost, so Cardinal Bishop, to the papacy. There's a lot of significance around this, that this happened. So yesterday's date was May 8th. And so the master number for yesterday is 13. And 13 is tied to the divine feminine. Yeah. And did this in a 9-year. And a 9-year is the end of cycles, and an era is a cycle. The thing about the reign of the divine feminine is that it will be a matriarchy, but a matriarchy is not like the patriarchy. So this is ending patriarchy, the rule of patriarchal systems. Yeah. So what's interesting is that Robert Prevost is the first U.S. Pope. That's who he was born in Chicago. And also come to find out he has African roots as well because of the Creole and Haitian DNA that he has from his mother's side. So that's amazing too. But he chose Leo the 14th. And Leo's all about courage, and 14 is the number for love. And I thought that was really interesting that he chose those names together. And I'm going to get to what's even more significant about that. But back to yesterday's date, because the month and day add up to 13, but the numerology is 22. And that is significant. The number 22 is a master builder, a divine architect. And in Pope Leo the 14th's speech, he talked about building bridges. That was the first thing he talked about. And the numerology for yesterday was 22. So that's really significant. And this happened in a 9-year, okay? So 9s, other than completion, which this is the end of an era, okay? 9s also represent humanitarianism. And this new pope talked about wanting to do more social justice work, and that is tied to humanitarianism. And 22 is also a bridge between realms, and a pope is supposed to have, a connection with God, and God oversees all realms, right? But they're speaking through the Holy Spirit too, which that's a realm, and then there's the earthly realm. And so that's a bridge between, right? And so when he talked about building bridges, perhaps that's what he was talking about too. Being more connected to the divine, not just the divine masculine, which has shut off the divine feminine because we've been under this patriarchal system, or whether it's through the church or through the governments, right? Or then extended to the home. Those are the 3 pillars of the patriarchy, which are crumbling. But maybe he is going to aid in bridging that gap with the divine feminine that's been hidden for so long. And that's really significant because he was elected the new pope on a master number connected to the divine feminine. This is really good. This is really amazing. So then I looked up his birthday because I'm like, I'm so curious. What is his birth chart? And wow, he was born September 14th, 1955. So the year he becomes a pope, the 9 year, corresponds to the month he was born in. And then he chooses 14. He's Leo the 14th. And he was born on the 14th, which his master number would be a 5. And I'm talking about 5 being significant for a number of reasons, including how evil can only incarnate 5 lives and then it's extinguished, and that T is on his 5th evil incarnation. That's significant. And 1955 is a 2 year, so his numerology is actually a 7, which is also quite significant. I'm not going to get into that here because there's way more that's even better than his numerology number. One of the things that Goddess Selene pointed out about the significance of the master number being 13 and the numerology date being 22, where 22 represents bridge building and 13 represents the divine feminine. Together, this is what she said. She said, this points toward a potential rebalancing between masculine and feminine spiritual leadership, or at least a readiness within the church to consider integrating suppressed truths and inclusive narratives. Yeah. Okay, so his birth chart is amazing. I don't know the time of day that he was born, but I don't think it would have made much of a difference to many of the placements. His moon is going to be the same moon the whole day, so that's not going to change. And I'm pretty sure his rising sign would have been the same regardless of the time of day. But what's amazing is that he has 2 stallions. A Virgo stallion because that's his sun. It's also his moon, his Venus, and his Mars. And he has a Leo stallion. Leo stallion. And his Leo is Jupiter, Uranus, and Pluto. And then his Aquarius is Chiron. And it is at 0 degree, which means he's supposed to be a leader in the age of Aquarius. And he is the first pope in the age of Aquarius. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. There's more to this that I'm going to go over. So go to part 2, and hopefully in part 2 we can talk to Aegon, aka Barnabas, about Pope Leo the 14th.